Hi everybody and big welcome to cEDH TV gameplay. This time me, Rhetoric and Pontus are joined by William.
Hello, glad to be on the show again.
Today I'm bringing back Shadow the Hedgehog. This deck is basically just a turbo Rakdos pile, but there are some interesting things with Shadow. For one, it's a abolisher adjacent effect in command zone, but also there are some combos with things like Anger. You have Buried Alive that can assemble a whole combo if you can have one reanimation and stuff like that. So it's interesting. I'm not sure how good it is, but it's fine.
Okay, so today I'm bringing the best deck in cEDH. It's a Jund pile with the Kodama. So basically, our hidden commander is Necropotence and also Necrodominance. And we're trying to, in the perfect universe, we have resolved the Kodama. And if you allow me to paint a picture, we have a Kodama in play. We do a big minus for like 35 and we try to cast an Endurance or utilize both of our Spirit Guides to get in an emergence zone or something like that. We're lacking basically card draw. It's the universal Yund type problem. Basically establish a Wandering or a Sylvan Library or a Necropotence or we die.
I actually think that the name of this deck says everything. Sisay 5 color, please don't board wipe. So this is actually a tournament deck that I built because people weren't playing or they were cutting Cyclonic Rift and Toxic Deluge. And that means that if you just mass produce creatures, it's gonna be very hard for your opponents to sometimes deal with you because like Flusterstorm, Swansong suddenly doesn't work. So there's a lot of hidden commanders in this deck. You have like 5 color Venota, 5 color Yisan. Where's Kinnan? There's Kinnan. 5 color Kinnan that can activate and potentially put Rhetoric Tar into play. Or Venota can put a Karavek the Merciless. So it's almost like a creature storm build. By the way, Grenzo Dungeon Warden 5 color is also fun, especially to have this high amount of creatures. But don't play this deck if you're playing in a metagame where people do include Toxic Deluge and Cycrift.
And me, I'm playing the Wandering Minstrel. This is a deck that, if you look at the duplicated link here that I've provided, is to Janatal's channel where he goes over how this deck works and so forth. But we're looking at a 5-color package, and I would say a competing IP against one of my opponents. But we have a number of combos. One of the things that he discusses is ways of getting Thassac Oracle into play with Hermit Druid. But that's not the only combo we have here. We have a number of other things that we can create, including breach packages and so forth. One thing that we also can do is abuse lands coming in tapped or untapped due to Wandering Minstrel's ability, and ways of sacking those and returning them. One of the key creatures is Aftermath Analyst, excuse me. This first 7 is really interesting because it has all cards I would want in certain circumstances. Lotus Petal, and let's say like we play Windswept Teeth or something of that sort. We're going to get those back through Luris once we put it into our hand. So we have to wait a little bit, but we can at least get our commander out turn 1. However, other than having things like Flusterstorm and Swansong, I'm not sure what else we have to really get. Like, we have Grand Abolisher too, which is great, but to have a package that we could put down later, we don't know what's on top of our deck. So I'm going to go ahead and pitch this one to try to do something a little stronger. All right, so I really like this one because we have a 31 fish that we can play, and maybe with some other decks that are in play, it would be useful. We also have Demonic Consultation, which you could use to dig, and we have a ramp card. So there's a couple different packages. Now we're lacking a little bit of interaction, but maybe we can roll into it through drawing with Mystic Remora. So I'm going to go ahead and go for it and take it away.
So this hand contains 1 plains. That's not enough. We're gonna take another one. 1 mana dork and 1 more land would have been great for a turn 2 Yisan. We don't have that, and the huge risk of doing nothing is too big, so we're going down to 6. This is a turn 2 Lofo. Perfect, that's great.
First 7. All right. We have a lot of mana here. The problem is, like, although this is a lot of mana, we aren't going anywhere. We're not playing Tinakram here, right? So we're not going to be able to like have this mana convert into anything useful for us. Okay, this hand does a turn 3 Necropotence. And the question is that gonna be good enough in turn 3? I think on a second 7 we're supposed to have something more impressive than this, I believe. It's like one of those very mid hands, because like if the Necropotence gets countered, then we don't have a pivot at all. Isn't a hand worth keeping if it's this slow? So we're gonna go to a 6. Very awkward colors for the thing that we want to be doing. Basically, we're doing a turn 2 Wishclaw Talisman, and off of that, we're not doing much either, right? We're not doing anything. We're not getting to this Orcish Lumberjack, which is really what we want to be doing. We want to be doing this Lumberjack that gives us a possibly turn 2 Kodama, but probably not, like a turn 3 Kodama. And then we have the Wishclaw to get into like the crazy stuff that we want to be doing. Like maybe do Wishclaw into Molten on our Wishclaw on further turns, but that's like turn 3. So it's actually like slower. Let's gamble. Let's go to a 5 here. Aggressively unimpressive. We're basically looking at like the opposite side of our previous problems, where you have all the payoffs that we would like to have in the other hands, but here we don't have the mana to get to those. So let's go to a 4. Okay, this is probably the best hand that we have seen so far, and we keep the mana to accelerate us into a Necrodominus at some point.
So our first 7 is interesting. I'm not convinced that it's good enough. We have a turn 2 Necro or the Wandering, and we're left with 3 lands, which is fine, not great. What we would do is just Gemstone Caverns, exile the Blood Artist, which is... It's not sad, but it's kinda sad, because Blood Artist is one of those cards that enables a lot of our combos. I could also just draw something else exile, of course. And then Jewel Amulet, filter some mana into it, and then turn 2 you have the Besiege the Mirror, sacking Jewel Amulet, finding any 4 or 3 cost. I think it's just Necro or the Wandering. I can't really think of anything else that we would want to do. The problem with this line is that we are last in turn order, so it would be a basically turn 3, kind of. I think this is just like slightly too bad, so I'll mulligan. Second 7 is close to being a lot better. Not having a land makes this hand really sus. Not drawing lands might be a theme. So going to 5. It has some stuff that's fun to see. We have the Welder with the Mass Hysteria, which is kind of fun. I think Mass Hysteria is a really fun card in this deck. If I were to keep this hand, I would probably just keep Mass Hysteria, Welder, 3 lands. Number 4 is another no-lander. That's not great. We have Simian for mana, but our only 1 mana spell is Dark Wit, which Simian can't cast, and Mass Hysteria. And the other cards in the hand doesn't really do anything, even if you get them out. So I'm going to 3. That's what you get for mulliganing a keepable but bad 7. I think we're always keeping this 3 and just hoping to top deck into game plan.
Draw a card, play a land, fetch the land, placing land into play, tapping land, playing Mystic Remora. Spell resolves, playing Mishra's Bauble, sacrificing Mishra's Bauble to look at the top of Monza's library. Oh yeah, okay.
This is what I had on top of my library. Pretty good.
All right, and I'll draw a card at the beginning of your upkeep. And with that, I pass.
So I will draw that card, and Rhetoric will also draw a card. I'm gonna pitch this Sungrass Prairie, and Rhetoric can draw a card, so I can cast my Lofo Corrupted Sheriff. And then I pass.
Draw for turn. We're gonna go ahead and play this tap land right here. Kinda sucks. Make do with a Surveil, and we're gonna put this Endurance into our graveyard. We're gonna pass after that.
Go to my turn. Land for turn will be a Verdant Catacombs, which I will fetch. Finding a Badlands, tapping it to cast a Goblin Welder. And then I'm passing the turn.
Okie doke. We will untap, and I will pay for fish. Draw a card. Then return is Misty Rainforest. I'll sack it, paying 1 life, put a Savannah into play. And with Savannah, we will tap it for 1 to play an Ignoble Hierarch. After that, I will pass turn.
I really thought these turbo players over there were gonna produce more to trigger my Lofo. Instead, we're gonna punish them. We're gonna make it real hard for them to trigger Lofo. Here's a Talia, Garden of Fairbane. Mean, can't storm. Lofo is never gonna give me treasures. I'm then going to exile a Elvish Spirit Guide, so I can cast my Arbor Elf. And then I trigger Lofo. At least I can make it work. Then I wanna go to combat and smack Rhetoric for 2.
I have been smacked for 2.
I pass.
All right, we're very thankful about this, Talia. We're gonna see if this works out somehow. I am going to tap this for a green, and we're gonna cast this guy, Elves of Deep Shadow. That's all the game actions I'm gonna take. I'm gonna pass the turn.
Okay, we drew a playable card. Can't do much else, so might as well cast it. Carrion Feeder. And then we're passing turn.
This is a creature-based game that I did not expect. Rah!
Yeah, I don't know if that fish is gonna get many more triggers. You should pay for it.
Do I want to keep going? Nah, I could just be more buttheadish, I guess. So, let's see. I think on my untap, I'm going to let die. Draw a card. Pay 1 for Chromox. We will imprint this. I feel like it's kind of locked up because of Mons, so I'm going to actually do this Straneth. I'm going to tap 2 and just cast my commander. That's why we're here, right? Your Lotho triggers, so you make a Trej. Other than that, I'll pass turn.
Draw a card. I'm going to tap for exactly 3 mana and cast my Sisay. She's a 4/4 because of white and black color identities from legendaries. The Wandering Minstrel can currently block both and kill my creatures, so I'm going to smack Talia at... Pontus has more things in play compared to William. So I'm smacking Pontus for 2, first strike.
No blocks, take 1 or 2.
Then I pass the turn.
We're gonna make something happen here. Not what we wanted to see there, I'm gonna be completely honest. Cast a Death Ray Shaman and cast this Lotus Petal, triggering Lotho. That's gonna be all that I do. I'm gonna pass after that.
Still not a land, but once again with uptake is castable card. I'll pay a black to cast this Stitcher Supplier. Stitcher Supplier resolves. I'll mill. It's a Warrior's Oath, a Engineer, sucks, and a Imp Seal. And then I'll pass my turn.
I'm going to draw a card. I don't know what Mons is doing. I'm going to pass.
I'm going to draw a card. I'm getting a little bit annoyed that I'm not drawing lands. So we have Ranger Captain of Eos in my hand, which is great, because we can use it to find Orochi Leafcaller, which is how we're going to win the game, because that will make my Gaia's Cradle tap for any mana that I want. Basically tap Cradle, activate Sisay, and then I win. Also protected, by the way, with the Ranger Captain. However, we can't do that now. It's like next turn, so to say. So I think I rather just attack this turn and have CC activation at the ready as an interaction. Because if I cast Ranger Captain, okay, sure, if I cast Ranger Captain, I have silence on their turn to prevent them from winning. But Sisay is actually kind of good at interacting on her own, so to say. So I guess the best course of action here is just lean back, relax, potentially find Cradle or Darevi next turn, or before I get to my turn, or something that I'm interacting with them, and then potentially, depending on the boards it looks like, we might go Ranger Captain, Orochi Leafcaller and win. We need a little bit more mana, so Gaia's Cradle or Darevi would be optimal to find before I get to my turn. Rhetoric, I'm attacking you with Sisay, and William, I'm attacking you with Talia.
I have no blocks.
No blocks.
Then I pass.
Interesting. I'm gonna untap my stuff and then I'm gonna draw. I shall do my first game action, which is to exile a land from I guess Pontus graveyard and make a black mana out of that. And then we're gonna lose a life and spend a lot of mana to cast our Necrodominus. That's good? Alright, cool. I am going to go to my end step and put a Necrodominus trigger on the stack. Pay 10 life into this Necrodominus. That shall be everything that I am interested in doing right now. So I am going to move to cleanup. So I've discarded the hand size. I've put on a bunch of John nonsense into exile and pass my turn.
Take my turn. Still don't have mana. Something that you might have considered and noticed that I'm not doing. I'm not sure if I stand by it, but so far my thinking has been, what I can do is I can use the welder to swap out the Chromox from Rhetoric and just give him back the bauble, denying him mana. The reason I haven't done this is I feel like I need my opponents to be more active in this game to be able to battle Mons, because Mons is kind of snowballing, and me and William weren't doing much. William now has a Necro, so he's in the game again. I keep drawing things that doesn't really help me. I can sack the Stitch Supplier at any point, but I still don't have an artifact to play to swap if I even find the Citadel, and I don't have the mana for the Vetos looting. I'm not doing anything, I need all the time I can get. But we're still just passing here.
End of your turn, I'm going to tap. Nope. Noble Hierarch, Promux, and Savannah to cast a Tainted Pact at the end of your turn. Aurora, Shadowy Backstreets, Talisman of Curiosity, Lotus Petal, Reflecting Swat, Gaia's Cradle, Arid Mesa, Orcish Bees, Noxious Revival, Fierce Guardianship, Grim Monolith, Grand Abolisher, Gamble, Ledger Shredder, Underground Sea, Ball Ritual, Scalding Tarn, Splendid Reclamation, Shifting Woodland, Fire Covenant, Enlightened Tutor, Flesh Duplicate, Brainstorm, An Offer You Can't Refuse, Hidden Nursery, Mox Amber, Vampiric Tutor, Mox Opal, Birds of Paradise, Mindbreak Trap, Tundra, Demonic Tutor, Worldly Tutor, Ristic Study, Wishclaw, Adnaz, Voice of Victory, Mystic Sanctuary, Lotho, Windswept Heath, Deadly Rollick. That would be a good one to play against Mons, but don't think it's worth it with the Tainted Pact. Cleaning Garden, Steel Enchantment, Flooded Strand, Taiga, Soul Ring, Aftermath, Amethyst. Yes, we'll go with that. Put those into exile, and then we will untap. Cast this Aftermath Analyst, and now we will mill 3 cards. Our Wooded Foothills, Flusterstorm, and Mystical Tutor. All right, and after that, I'll pass.
In your end step, I'm gonna activate Sisay by sacrificing 2 artifacts. I'm gonna find the Revi, and on the ETB, I'm gonna tap down... wait a minute, there's a Necrodominance next turn. No, I'm still going to tap down your Tropical Island down there, Rhetoric.
I will tap 2 then in response, and I'll flash in this Archivist of Ogma.
You can have the Ogma. I will go to my turn and untap everything I have. I will then go to my turn, draw a card. I have 32 lands in this deck list to avoid missing land drops. Where are my lands? I'm going to cast a Ranger Captain of Eos. ETB, I'm gonna find Orochi Leaf Collar. As it is 1 green mana, it's a perfect target for my Ranger Captain. Then I'm going to sacrifice Ranger Captain of Eos. I'm going to sacrifice a treasure, cast the Orochi Leaf Collar, and because of Lofo, I will regain and lose a life that treasure. I'm then going to go to combat, attacking everything that I have at William that doesn't have any blockers.
No blocks, I take 12.
I now have 4 Dereve triggers, and I'm gonna put all of those at my Mox Diamond that will be untapped, and each time it gets untapped I will basically tap it again until I have 4 mana, 1 of each color, and then I sacrifice my last treasure for the final 5th color. With that I have a Sisay activation, finding a Gaia's Cradle, and here we have to pass. Sadly the turn.
Untap, skip my draw step, and we're gonna go straight into main phase 1. Cook some cool line here, possibly. Play Badlands. Second game action. Tap Underground Mortuary and tap this Elves of Deep Shadow to cast a Sol Ring. After that, I'm going to actually in Sorcery Speed activate my Deathrite Shaman and exile a land from Rhetoric's graveyard. Make a red mana off of that. Double red, and we're gonna pay the extra with the Sol Ring and cast a Final Fortune, floating 1 mana. And you get a treasure mons off of your Lothar trigger. Everybody pass. I'm going to have an extra turn. I'm gonna use my remaining colorless mana to cast this Lion's Eye Diamond while I have the mana for it. And then I would like to move to my end step. I am going to spend 12 life into my Necrodominus. So draw 12 cards. Thinking about the cleanup here. I'm really considering just like throwing away this name sticker goblin because it's gonna be annoying to resolve if that is the thing that I want to be doing. Yeah, we don't care about the goblin. All right, great. I'm gonna put these nonsense cards into exile, and then I would like to take my next turn. Untap, and don't go to draw step. Very important. Play this pre-game action, and then I am going to tap my Elves of Deep Shadow, going down to 1 life, and tapping my Sol Ring and try to cast a Culling the Weak using the extra mana from my Sol Ring. And I'm gonna cast a Besiege the Mirror, bargaining this Necrodominus. Also Lothar trigger, that's good to resolve. 2 cards in hand.
So I'm going to respond. I'm gonna tap my Cradle for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 green mana. And with the power of Oracle Leaf Color, I'm gonna convert 4 of those green mana into 4 other colors, so I can activate Sisay, Weatherlight Captain.
That's excellent. I have no response. That's good. I'm okay with this. I've accepted my fate.
With that, I'm gonna find Emil the Blessed. Now I have 1 green mana floating, and I've acquired 2 treasures because you casted 2 spells on your 2 turns. So that's a magical count of 3 mana to activate Emil, targeting my Derevi. I want to flicker Derevi.
I have no response to this. That's good by me. Rhetoric, save us.
No, I can't do anything.
So Derevi flickers, and that will untap my Cradle. So I will tap Cradle for this time 7 mana, and here I generate infinite green mana. And with infinite green, I still have infinite whatever mana I want with Oracle Leaf Color, but I can also untap all my stuff infinitely, which means that I can tap my Mox Diamond infinitely. This means I have infinite CC activations. With that, I'm going to find Kinnan. And with infinite mana, I can activate Kinnan infinitely. And that will allow me to find Orcish Bow Master. And with infinite mana and an Emil the Blessed, I have infinite damage. So I can sit here and flicker my Orcish Bow Master and just shoot you down until you're all very dead. GG's! Sisay win! So Lofo was super MVP here, because with the Cradle, I acquired a total of 6 mana, and I need 2 more, a total of 8, to activate Sisay and find Emil, and then a total of 3 more to activate Emil. I didn't have that mana, so I had to pass turn. Luckily for me, William casted 2 spells, because what else is he going to do? Like, sit there and do nothing, and that will lead to William losing the game anyway, and maybe William... So Lofo gave me the 2 remaining treasures that I needed to basically have the mana to win. If William didn't do this, I would still be able to just have a Cradle activation at the ready to find whatever I need, like an Ertai Resurrected to have a counterspell versus potentially Rhetoric, and Pontus felt like he was very out of the game because of the Thalia. So even if I wouldn't have won in instant speed during William's turn, the chance of this just going in a circle back to me was pretty secured.
The turbo decks were Mulligan really low, and we weren't like in the seat order to get under the Thalia, and yeah, we were pretty much cooked from the get-go, I feel like.
Yeah, like you say I got screwed by Thalia. Honestly, my hand didn't really do anything even without the Thalia.
Sure, true.
So yeah, I wasn't really in that game. My first 7 was the best hand. Then I had like 3 hands without any lands.
Pontus, I was trying to...
Yeah, the first 7 still wouldn't get under.
I was trying to say that it was not your fault that it was going terrible, or you're unlucky.
Yeah, you could have at least lied about it, Pontus, and say that you had a banger hand but the Thalia stopped you. Now you just look like you Mulligan wrong.
I'm not giving stacks the
glory of the glory of credit.
The glory, yeah. The credit, yeah, that's the word.
One thing that I find very funny is your Mystic Remora. How many cards? I knew I gave you 1 card, but 2, yeah. Yeah, this is not...
I got Thalia.
yeah, but I think you were just unlucky. They were unlucky. Made your Mystic Remora very weak, and that was very good for me, because this literally was almost a 1v1 between you and me, until William started to get somewhere in this. In any case, hope you enjoyed the battle, guys. We'll be back next week. Take care.